It's Trippin Diaries straight from the toilet. I'm sitting on a toilet right now. I need to do this very quickly and to the point because I've got a lot of work to do. I'm trying to work as hard as I can to save some money because I'm spending a shitload of money on my trips to Norway. Which brings me to the topic of today's Trippin Diaries. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know it because I mentioned what I was going to talk about in my stories. And I went shopping. I went shopping for winter gear for my trip to see the Northern Lights in Tromsø in Norway. In case you're not aware, I'm currently in St. Petersburg in Russia, so not the warmest place on earth to be in November. So the weather is a bit, it's like between -5 and 0 right now. This week, it was a bit warmer in the past few weeks. So I do have some winter clothing on me. I've got like a heavy winter coat that I've been taking with me since Portugal. So can you imagine me in March in Portugal, 25 degrees, and I'm walking around with my coat on. Bye, Lisbon! Because I can't fit inside my suitcase. So when I'm on the move, I always had to wear it. So, you know, it's finally paying off here in St. Petersburg. But I still needed like some stronger winter gear because I'm going to Tromsø next. And it's currently like about -10. And I'm going in 2 weeks because I'm going to stop in Moscow for a few days. So I knew I needed something a bit stronger, especially if I'm taking the Northern Lights tour, which takes you out of the city to like mountains and the beach. And it's obviously a lot colder in these places. So I did some shopping. Originally I was looking for the flea market here in St. Petersburg because I heard you could get some good secondhand stuff there. I couldn't find it. I walked around in the rain for ages. Did come across some really nice residential neighborhoods that you can see there. It was a really nice walk, but you know, I never really found what I was looking for. However, on my way back to the metro, as I walked disappointedly in the rain, how do you walk disappointedly? But as I walked back home, I walked past this big shopping center looking thing which said outlet. So I walked in and I actually found some really cheap winter gear, which I'm going to show you right now. And after I'm show you these things, I'm also going to give you some tips of how it's not even like what you should do or you shouldn't do, because I don't like saying that because I'm no expert in anything, but it's just like some good attitudes to have, or that I have towards my money that works out for me, and then maybe that works out for you too. So the first thing I needed is a scarf. I've got a scarf in London. I used to live in England for 7 years, so I do have some winter clothes, but most of it I left it in England because I didn't think I was gonna use it. So like I brought my winter coat, but I left my scarf in England. Big mistake, should have brought it with me, but it's just too big and bulky. But I bought this one, and the scarves I was looking at in the shopping centre, in the normal shopping centre, I went to H&M, and they were about 12 to 15 pounds. I thought H&M in Russia is really expensive for some reason. But then this one is 400 rubles at the outlet shop. And it's a nice colour, it's dark the way I like it, it's thick. I was actually trying to buy something that I could use as a hijab when I go to the Middle East. That's going to be where I'm going to go in Jan-Feb. But I thought it was going to be too thin and I don't want something thick like this as a hijab, so I was still going to have to buy something else to use for that, but it's fine. And I can wear it here in St. Petersburg, I can wear it in Moscow, I can wear it in London. I'm going to spend November and potentially December in London as well, so I could wear it there. So I'm pretty happy with that purchase. I also needed gloves. I've got gloves on me, but they're really shitty. Like, England is not a very cold country. Like in winter, you get -4. But then, so I bought this. So these are like thick, but I'm gonna wear them with my gloves underneath it. That's another good attitude to have, is speak to locals. Ask people who have been to that place, even if they're not locals, so you can have some tips. And they told me to buy gloves that had like the fingers not separate like this, but they were really expensive. These type of gloves are really expensive, and they were too warm for most countries I visit, so I didn't think it was worth it. But I bought this. And just to mention, like, if I hadn't asked them about which kind of gloves I should buy, I would probably go with my own gloves, which would not be enough, and my fingers would maybe become rotten and drop on the floor. Is that how it works when your extremities get really cold? I don't know. Another reason why, and this is a tip I got from locals, is that my gloves are those ones that you can like touch the screen with them, and these are not. So they were saying like if you're going to see the northern lights, you're going to want to take pictures with your phone. The gloves that are going to be underneath, they need to be touch screen, like, or touch screen adaptable, because otherwise you're going to have your hand out in the cold, and that's not going to be pleasant. And the best thing is the price. It's 49 rubles, and I'm very happy with that. And then for my feet, like some of the Northern Lights stores, they offer you thermal boots and thermal suits. So I was wondering whether I should buy new shoes or not. I've got a pair of boots which would be waterproof but not very warm, so I was thinking, ooh, maybe I should buy some woolen socks or woolen based socks because I don't like to wear animal materials. So I was in two minds whether I should just buy a pair of really nice socks or whether I should buy proper snow boots. And you know, bear in mind that I'm only going to be there for 4 days. Even though my boots wouldn't be 100% suitable for a meter of snow, I think I could survive with them. However, I found these boots on sale in the same outlet, and you know, they're fluffy inside and they are suitable, they're like proper snow boots that you would get if you go skiing and stuff like that, and they were only 600 rubles. The thought process behind it was to buy this instead of the socks, and then just wear my own socks underneath. But you know, I thought I could buy these and then I could sell them in London, because I'm only gonna wear them for 4 days. They're gonna be like new, and I'm gonna try and make that money back in London by selling them. I hope that's a good idea. I'm not 100% sure on this because this material is not waterproof, so I'm not sure if that's gonna mess it up, and we'll find out. And also, if I do get a tour that offers the thermal boots, because I've not booked my tour yet, I don't know if I should do it now or if I should do it there. The person I spoke to did it there, but I'm like, oh my god, I'm so nervous because it's only 4 days anyway. Maybe I shouldn't have bought this. I'm in two minds still, but this is the decision I went with, and I'm gonna tell you if it worked or not. So these are the winter stuff that I bought for Norway. And in terms of attitudes, it's like when I first started looking at winter gear, I went to a shopping centre, like a normal shopping centre as I said, and I went to H&M and I saw these things for like scarves for between 12 and 15 pounds. The boots were like super expensive, and you know, like I could have just bought it there and then, and when I left H&M I actually felt really bad that I didn't buy it, and I was like, oh my god, Andrea, like you're trying to save money but you're gonna end up in Norway without your winter gear and you're gonna be fucked up. You know, I took that time to think about the prices that I'd seen and think about my purchases. I went out of my way to go and find an alternative option. I did find an outlet, and then it ended up being so much cheaper. All of this was £12.50. That would have been the price of just the scarf had I bought it in the first place I'd seen. So, you know, in the last video I talked about researching, I talked about how I spent ages looking at my tickets to Moscow, which I'm going next Thursday. I'm really excited. And you know, I ended up saving a lot of money from doing that research. Think about your purchases, like think about all the options, like is there anything that you could do differently to make this cheaper? And you know, it's not about not being comfortable or compromising, it's about making your money go further. I think, like, I work so hard for my money. I've been working all day, and I've been working more days than I usually do to make extra money for this trip, so I don't want to just spend it carelessly. And this goes if you're traveling or not. Another attitude that I thought about mentioning, and it's not related to winter gear at all. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because one of the main attitudes I have to save money is to cook at the hostel. But I do realize that some people think it's very hard to do that because they don't know how to cook. You have to go to the supermarket in a country that you sometimes don't speak the language of. It is a bit of a hassle, and you have to buy shit and you have to decide what you're gonna make. But you know what, it's like one of the biggest money saving tips that I could ever give you. The amount of money you spend eating out, the only country I went to where eating out was cheaper than cooking at the hostel was Bosnia. The supermarket in Bosnia was a bit expensive, and the food outside, like in the markets and in the shops, were really cheap, so that was the only place where it was actually worth it. And that's another good attitude to have, actually evaluate whether like evaluate country by country and see what the situation is, but in general, in my experience, you will want to be cooking at the hostel. So, you know, one of the first things I do when I arrive in a new country is I go to the supermarket, which is a very adult thing to do, and I, you know, try to be friends with the supermarket. I get to know it. I look around and see like what is expensive in this country, what is cheaper, because it changes. Like fruit and veg in Russia is really expensive, which is a shame for me because I'm vegetarian. Oh, okay, so what does the like dry goods cost? Like, are they expensive, are they cheaper? Milk, cheese, and then once you know what's worth buying or not, you then can think about what you're gonna make. Like, I have some experience cooking for hostels, and that helped me so much to eat better and cook for myself. You know, you can always Google like easy recipes and easy things to make. Even you can add your ingredients, the stuff that is cheap in that country, you can add it in and see what comes up on your search. It sounds silly, but if you're going to travel long term and if you want to make your money go further, get to know your supermarkets. Supermarkets are your best friend.